2018 Vauxhall Corsa Hatchback Review. The good points of Vauxhall Corsa Hatchback: generous equipment levels, more engaging drive and automobile than many rivals, sweet 1.0-litre engines from 2014-18, fine VXR performance versions. The bad points of Vauxhall Corsa Hatchback: based for the old one, for sale until 2020. Falling behind against much newer opposition. Non-turbo engines give weaker performance. Firm sports suspension on VXR models. Consistently among the best-selling cars in Britain, the Vauxhall Corsa increases against many accomplished rivals in side forms from the Ford Fiesta, Peugeot 208, Renault Clio, Seat Ibiza and Volkswagen Polo, to call just a handful. The range was handed a thorough refresh in 2014 with updated looks, a better interior according to that of smaller Vauxhall Atom, as well as a broad selection of engines, including a perky 1.0-litre turbocharged motor. But it's critically the same car underneath which was introduced in 2006, meaning it must be good to maintain much newer competition, including the Kia Rio, Mazda 2, Nissan Micra and Skoda Fabia. Was this generation of Vauxhall Corsa an all-new model in 2014? No, Vauxhall played a sleight-of-hand trick here. The biggest visual changes just for this generation Corsa on the 2006 original are normally found at the front, the place that the nose is longer and much more expressive, with distinctive headlights as well as a lower, wider grille, like you will find on all kinds of other Vauxhall models. It's the inside profile where this and also the previous Corsa iterations look most similar, because windows continue to the current generation. The more coupe-like glass outline with the three-door is slightly extended by the glossy applique just behind the rearmost side window. Major 2018 Vauxhall Corsa range revisions. You'd better much like the Corsa, because Vauxhall confirmed that it's going to remain on discount sales in this form within the UK until 2020, in the event it will be replaced using a new Peugeot-based hatchback. That explains why from April 2018 the trim level structure was revised and slimmed down, tied to Active, Design, Energy, Sport, 3NAF, 3VX Line NAF Black, SANAF and VXR. Vauxhall also reintroduced the Corsa C, open to order in July 2018, which sits below the Rapid VXR models. At duration the quantity of engines was significantly pared back. All non-VXR Corsas at the moment are 1.4-litre petrols in 4 states of tune. The economical diesels as well as the much-liked 1.0-litre turbo petrols are not anymore. Vauxhall Corsa's high-tech interior and sharp drive. Climb in the Corsa along with the Atom's influence is pretty obvious, with a stylish dashboard featuring soft-touch plastics for the upper moulding, more technology, nearly every version advantages of the IntelliLink multimedia package. It drives significantly a lot better than the old Corsa too, riding more pliantly on comfort suspension models. However, sometimes there can be a little an excessive mount firmness on individuals with the sports setup. Varied variety of Vauxhall Corsa engines. Over the Corsa's life cycle there is a mix of impressively efficient engines, using the focus being economy instead of high performance. So, none on the range completes the 0 to 62 mph acceleration in just 10 seconds, save with the C plus the flagship VXR. VXR aside, the headline-grabbing engine was the 3-cylinder 1.0-litre turbocharged petrol, in 90 horsepower and 115 horsepower outputs. We were particularly in awe of its refinement and balance between speed and efficiency, so it is a pity it had been dropped in spring 2018. It's also quieter than Ford's similarly sized EcoBoost engine. Depending on wheel size, the lower-powered version from the 2 units boasts claims approximately 65.7 miles per gallon and 100 grams/km of CO2. It's not the most beneficial Corsa though. That honor still has become the 1.3-litre diesels in 75 horsepower and 95 horsepower forms, where Vauxhall claims of up to 88.3 miles per gallon, producing CO2 emissions of 85 grams/km. Again, the diesels disappeared in that 2018 range rationalization, as did the unfancied 70 horsepower 1.2-litre petrol. Depending on trim, the 2018 engines are limited by non-turbo 1.4-litre petrols delivering 75 horsepower and 90 horsepower, in addition to turbo motors in the same size producing 100 horsepower and 150 horsepower. That 90 horsepower version is additionally available with all the option of a normal automatic transmission. All Corsas have 5 or 6-speed manual gearboxes. Sporty Vauxhall Corsa and VXR models top the product range. There's lots of performance on tap with all the Vauxhall Corsa VXR. Because of its 205 horsepower 1.6-litre turbo engine, top speed is 143 miles per hour, even though it will scorch from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds. From summer 2018, the Corsa XC was introduced, boasting the suspension setup with the VXR model coupled with Vauxhall's excellent 150 horsepower 1.4-litre turbo engine. Vauxhall quotes a maximum speed of 129 miles per hour just for this gap-plugging warm hatch. The verdict: it's an easy task to overlook the Vauxhall Corsa, especially compared using the younger Ford Fiesta, Seat Ibiza or Volkswagen Polo, but it is still a robust contender inside the small hatchback market. It's good to operate a vehicle, finely honed, and it is available in an array of trims and specs geared to most needs. The top-of-the-line VXR model can be an acquired taste, and hard to rationally justify, even so the rest from the range is competent whilst still being very much worth recommendation. Stick with the little petrol engines, and also you can't go far wrong. Vauxhall Corsa Hatchback Review. Smooth revving 1.0-litre was obviously a gem. Non-turbo 1.4 petrols are slow. VXR increases the Fiesta's steer run due to the money. An overhauled variety of petrol and diesel engines included an excellent 3-cylinder motor and was headed by way of a 206 horsepower unit for your VXR if this generation of Vauxhall Corsa has been available since 2014, but effectiveness comes second to efficiency. However, the product range of engines was significantly slimmed down in spring 2018, wonderful powerplants sparring the 1.4-litre motors along with the VXR-specific 1.6 being discontinued. Vauxhall Corsa petrol engines. Unless you cover significantly high mileages, petrol engines tend to accommodate smaller cars greater than diesels, hence why there was clearly so many of those to choose from if this iteration with the Corsa was already released. The turbocharged 1.4-litre motor produces 100 horsepower but more torque at 200 Nm from 1,850 revolutions per minute, delivering a 115 miles per hour top speed along with an 11-second time to the 0 to 62 miles per hour acceleration test. Vauxhall claims overall fuel efficiency of 51.4 miles per gallon, with CO2 output 128 grams/km. So that it is the greenest Corsa following your 2018 engine pairback. A 5-speed manual transmission is standard. Available just with trim can be a 150 horsepower version with the 1.4-litre turbo, delivering a highly regarded speed of 129 miles per hour and completing the 0 to 62 miles per hour run in 8.9 seconds. Completing the petrol lineup are 2 non-turbocharged 1.4-litre units, with 75 horsepower and 90 horsepower respectively, the lower-powered version replacing the previously available to 1.2-litre with 70 horsepower in spring 2016. The 75 horsepower derivative may be the slowest with the Corsas, trundling approximately 101 miles per hour and going for a leisurely 15.5 seconds to accomplish the 0 to 62 miles per hour test. With its 5-speed manual gearbox, efficiency is rated between 54.3 miles per gallon and 55.4 miles per gallon, with CO2 emissions of 118 to 120 grams/km. There's more variation using the 90 horsepower 1.4-litre, Its standard 5-speed manual gearbox could be optionally substituted for either a self-shifting 6-speed automatic transmission. Top speed for your manual is 109 miles per hour. As you move, the automatics is 106 miles per hour. Accelerating from the standstill to 62 miles per hour takes 13.2 seconds inside the manual, 13.9 seconds using the auto. Wheel size and the entire body style again impact efficiency around the 1.4-litre Corsa. Manual versions post figures of 50.4 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions of 130 grams/km, beating the automatic models, 44.1 to 46.3 miles per gallon and 142 to 149 grams/km. Rapid Corsa VXR flagship. Despite the performance pack's name, written the Vauxhall Corsa VXR's speed would be the same if you have it fitted. The numbers say it'll cover 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.5 seconds. That's very quick thinking about the price on the car, and top speed is definitely an impressive 143 miles per hour, but numbers mean little without perspective, and Vauxhall will be the first to boast this car is slightly quicker to accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour than its main rival, the last generation Ford Fiesta Street. Even better is the place grade it sounds featuring its Remus exhaust. The aftermarket specialist firm has generated a system which reduces back pressure for better performance. Nevertheless, it sounds great too, especially with all the performance pack fitted. The turbocharged 1.6-litre is smooth, versatile and refined, though we did find we to wait more time than the figures suggest to the full 280 Nm of torque. Vauxhall claims it's offered by just 1,900 revolutions per minute, but inside the higher gears you'll have to hold back until no less than 2,500 revolutions per minute for something to take place. Even then it's purely available for 5 seconds on overboost. Still, it can feel as though it's got the total 205 horsepower and 245 Nm the firm claims during normal driving. It's a fantastic job too, since there's another aspect for this car's performance that feels brilliant, the gear change. A conventional enough 6-speed manual box, the VXR is given a heavily revised, short-shifting lever which is definitely an absolute joy make use of. Vauxhall Corsa engines not available. Most interesting could be the 3-cylinder, 1.0-litre turbo accessible in 90 horsepower and 115 horsepower forms, both producing 170 Nm from 1,800 revolutions per minute. It's a refined and relatively hushed engine, building a far less intrusive engine note than Ford's 1.0-litre EcoBoost does inside the Fiesta, but performance is adequate as an alternative to sporty. Opt to the 90 horsepower version so you'll see a high speed of 112 miles per hour, accelerating from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 11.9 seconds. The 115 horsepower edition generates figures of 121 miles per hour in 10.3 seconds. With standard start, stop function as well as other EcoFlex fuel-saving measures, as well as a 6-speed manual gearbox, fuel efficiency is rated between 62.8 miles per gallon and 65.7 miles per gallon for the 90 horsepower version and 56.5 miles per gallon and 57.6 miles per gallon with the 115 horsepower model, depending on wheel size and variety of doors, causing CO2 emissions between 100 grams/km and 117 grams/km. If you cover any type of mileage that will require a diesel, there are 2 improved versions with the 1.3-litre T, producing 75 horsepower and 95 horsepower. Both motors are fitted using a 5-speed manual gearbox, EcoFlex braking, energy recovery and start-stop functions. Choose the lower powered diesel plus your top speed potential is curbed at 102 miles per hour, going from 0 to 62 miles per hour in a very pedestrian 14.8 seconds. The 94 bhp engine manages 113 miles per hour in 11.9 seconds. As is really a theme for the Corsa, wheel size and the body style vary the claimed efficiency results. The 75 horsepower posts figures of 74.3 miles per gallon to 76.3 miles per gallon, with CO2 emissions of 99 grams/km to 100 grams/km. These are bested from the 95 horsepower version, 83.1 to 88.3 miles per gallon, 85 to 89 grams/km CO2. Much improved driver involvement weighed against its predecessor. More accurate steering across the product range than before, too. Sportier models feature stiffer suspension. Previous editions of Vauxhall's Corsa haven't been blessed together with the most engaging of driving experiences. To report positively around the current model's handling traits is often a welcome change. Although this Corsa is situated heavily on its predecessor's underpinnings, the suspension continues to be thoroughly improved. This means it not simply rides with greater compliance, particularly models with 16-inch wheels or smaller, but it really also feels noticeably more nimble and precise from the way it changes direction. The center of gravity lowered by 5 mm incorporates a positive effect, specifically in combination together with the stiffer body structure and much more accurate electrical power steering, tuned specifically with the UK's rougher roads. Vauxhall Corsa sports chassis is stiffer with additional direct steering. Corsas riding on 17-inch wheels have a very stiffer suspension arrangement, together with a retuned, more direct steering setup. Combined using the more powerful, but discontinued, 1.0-litre engine, it makes a great attempt at being fun-driven automobile, cornering flatly as winding B roads are tackled with enthusiasm, yet remaining positively compliant out partying. Where this setup usually falls down ends undulating surfaces at higher speeds, the location where the Corsa's composure is lost, your body control feeling like it's still dealing together with the previous bump when you hit the following one. You can forgive this more once the Corsa's a slightly faster one, but combine the stiffer suspension having a less powerful engine as well as the combination isn't alluring. Under heavier braking over such road surfaces, you're conscious that the vehicle has a tendency to skip above the dips inside undulations, making the Corsa feel just a little unstable. Performance Pack transforms Vauxhall Corsa VXR. We couldn't review this aspect from the VXR without first mentioning that it's a casino game of two cars, the typical one as well as the optional Performance Pack equipped version. As a normal car without the need of optional extras, it will be difficult for us to call the Corsa VXR's handling anything besides above average. Its steering features a decent enough weighting to it, nevertheless the lack of an inspired front differential means the lining wheel spins up about the exit of corners, and that's regarding it. This VXR also doesn't change direction in a sprightlier way because it sits slightly higher with softer settings from the dampers, so there's a modicum of additional body roll there. Its suspension can be a clever system which Vauxhall claims regulates itself, having a valve system to instantly adjust the vehicle's firmness based for the road conditions you're driving on. In simple terms, the damper decides how soft or firm the automobile needs to be. It's something which works pretty much, but is most beneficial forgotten about really because the driver doesn't have control over it. You'll probably do not be able to detect the gap between the two unless you're testing in a very lab environment, but it really is worth noting that on a regular VXR there's a noticeably convenient ride when driving slowly. To really convert it into a rival for your cream with the crop on this class, namely the Ford Fiesta ST plus the Peugeot 208 GTI by Peugeot Sport, you're going to have to install the Performance Pack. Very firm Vauxhall Corsa VXR Performance Pack ride quality. Available from new only as being a factory-fitted extra, the Vauxhall Corsa VXR with Performance Pack is surely an entirely different thing. Forget any semblance of ride comfort, the clever adaptive dampers from specialists Koni make no apologies here. The suspension springs allow the vehicle to sit 10 mm lower compared to the previous generation of the car, and also get retuned for any harder setting which eliminates most body roll. Instead you find a car that changes direction impressively while boasting spectacular traction due to the clever limited slip differential. This latter feature, built by specialists Drexler, can be a huge part from the hot Corsa's appeal. It utterly transforms the handling, offering a degree of driver engagement that few in this particular sector can rival. Simply get the auto turned on and place the power down, you'll be astonished with the purchase you're afforded, even on wet and greasy roads. The steering is really a nicely set up system too, feeling direct and accurate but additionally well weighted for enthusiastic driving. Special mention here goes toward the tire, that's sculpted to really succeed to keep the driver's hands from the correct position. Dashboard feels high quality just for this segment. Logical layout with decent switchgear. Plenty of driving position adjustment. While similarities between this also generation of Corsa are obvious inside and outside despite the makeover, its dashboard does much to lift the ambience within the Vauxhall. It's a tremendous quality jump in the harder, unappealing plastics of the predecessor, to the one with many different glossy black surfaces and also a squidgy soft touch molding for the top in the dashboard. Not only does it feel more premium, it's better built and suppresses noise better too. Some from the switchgear is carried over using their company Vauxhalls, such as thick, cylindrical steering column ones for wipers and indicators, but there's a nice action to most from the buttons and controls. Multimedia system is on the list of best in the supermini. Particularly an easy task to use will be the 7-inch IntelliLink multimedia color touchscreen, suited to design models and above. Its clear graphics and responsive interface keep it simplistic to use around the move, along with providing a USB audio connection and Bluetooth syncing for phone and streaming purposes, but why the screen has got to go black once the volume's adjusted can be as distracting, which is baffling. Optimizing your driving comfort is usually a doddle that has a height-adjustable driver's seat designed to all Corsas, just like a tire adjustable for reach and angle and electric door mirrors. Forward visibility is great, aided by the tiny triangular windows ahead from the front doors, while rearward vision may be improved with all the optional reversing camera and parking sensors. Standard suspension may be the best setup. Sports suspension lacks compliance at speed. Performance pack VXR is still solid. Stick with models riding on 16-inch wheels or smaller, plus the improvements in Vauxhall Corsa comfort levels are impressive. It remains a simple car to push, though with superior bump and rut absorption than before, in addition to a lighter, more direct electrical energy steering system, which could be lightened further to improve urban nimbleness. Overall, it feels a plusher environment to waste time in, with many different equipment and higher grade materials used over the cabin, although its measures are carried over from before. How much room is there in the Vauxhall Corsa? This isn't this type of bad thing, because outgoing Corsa became a spacious small car, meaning 2 6-footers should be competent to relax in reasonable room behind front seat occupants of your similar height. Squeezing a 5th person inside the center rear seat is less bearable. Finding an appropriate driving position is simple. All models have a very height adjustable driver's seat along with a steering column adjustable for both angle and distance. Visibility is nice too, the Corsa's large glass area continuing from before. All models barring the base spec active have aircon as standard, while climate control is various on versions from the upper echelons in the Corsa hierarchy. Infotainment is boosted while using energy models onwards, detailed with Vauxhall's IntelliLink touchscreen. The graphics do understand and responsive, Bluetooth connectivity pays too, but we didn't like how once you adjust the quantity the whole screen goes black save to the white numbers, a little bit distracting inside your peripheral vision when using the tire controls. Ride comfort not really a Vauxhall Corsa VXR strength. With the VXR it's quite definitely a game of two halves. If you're following a hot hatch having a more cosseting ride over a Ford Fiesta ST or maybe a Renault Sport Clio 200, this is it. We found it relatively quiet inside the cabin and also the engine, while sounding somewhat hard-worked in the top with the rev range, never drones on irritatingly. The Recaro seats are particularly good. It's an organization noted for the motorsport-derived seating, which ones are extremely supportive, otherwise the last word in soft, sofa-like luxury. However, if you're looking for just a hot hatch that has a bone-jarring chassis, lots of road noise, a loud exhaust and brilliant handling, this is it too, once you've specced the performance pack. The blend of large wheels, sticky high-performance tires and lowered suspension isn't a cozy car in the fastest and best handling form. That differential doesn't help here either, because it includes a tendency to tug in the steering wheel when cornering, so it's a relentless battle. Sure, this can help it to deal with well, nonetheless it's not essentially the most relaxing experience. Also remember, comfort is compromised on core Corsa models because of their 17-inch alloy wheels plus the sports suspension settings that accompany them. It's noticeably stiffer, but nevertheless compliant, yet on rougher surface roads at higher speeds the firmness becomes tiresome. And rim levels as a whole from active to VXR. All feature heated windscreens and cruise control. Useful selection of extra cost possibilities. Despite claiming to get simplified the stove, by summer 2016 the Corsa range had expanded to 11 trim levels. However, rationalization kicked in by spring 2018 in the event the current lineup of Active, Design, Energy, Sport, 3NAF, 3VX Line NAF Black, SANAF, X and VXR. Standard Vauxhall Corsa hatchback equipment. Entry point with the range may be the Corsa Active, which comes with cruise control, heated windscreen, remote central locking, electric front windows, hill start assist, 15-inch alloy wheels, CD player, USB and Bluetooth connectivity. Next up would be the Corsa design, having a kit roster that also includes front fog lights, LED day running lights, 15-inch steel wheels with full-width trims, IntelliLink multimedia system having a 7.0-inch color touch screen, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, air conditioning. Progressing on the Corsa Energy Nets U. Automatic lights, rain-sensitive wipers, 16-inch alloy wheels, electric door mirrors, heated front seats, heated leader. Opting for your Corsa Sport may also mean you make use of dark-tinted rear windows, sports front seats, alloy look pedals. Dialing inside the sportiness another notch could be the Corsa 3NAF, which adds full European sat-nav. This could be further built upon by deciding on the Corsa 3VX Line NAF Black. VX Line specific bodykit. Sports suspension. 17-inch alloy wheels. OnStar concierge service. Wi-Fi hotspot. Auto-dimming rear-view mirror. If a little luxury is a lot more your thing, the Corsa SANAF uses the Energy model as the basis, adding front and rear parking sensors, chrome look exterior trims, OnStar concierge service, sat-nav, auto-dimming rear-view mirror, heated leader, heated front seats, 60 hours 40 minutes split rear seats. Introduced in summer 2018, the Corsa has a great deal of looks in the VXR, but lower running costs. VXR look bodykit. 17-inch two-color alloy wheels. Darkened rear privacy glass. Carbon fiber look exterior detailing. Sports front seats. Flat bottom controls. Topping kids is the Corsa VXR, with an amount of special features as standard, including uprated VXR specific bodykit, Recaro shell-backed seats, VXR specific instruments, short throw gear lever, optional Vauxhall Corsa hatchback extras. With countless models plus a wealth of standard equipment anyway, options to personalize the Corsa are limited and largely constrained to waist safety equipment. Depending within the model, you may specify aircon or electronic climate control for only greater temperature setting precision. Parking sensors are offered also on many models, as is usually a reversing camera and self-parking function. Bi-xenon headlamps with cornering function is usually additionally fitted, through an automatic main beam function available too. Many motorway miles and features, for example blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning and traffic sign recognition might you have to be appealing, while specifying forward collision warning can help reduce your insurance charges. Most interesting, if you're a cyclist, maybe the inbuilt flex fix rack that slides out in the lower rear bumper, and large enough to securely hold a set of bikes. What the Corsa doesn't offer would be the degree of customization accessible to customers of smaller, more fashion-focused ADAM. Rated 4 stars by Euro NCAP. Nose design absorbs impacts better. Plenty of safety kit fully briefed to help. Vauxhall says the Euro NCAP test is much more rigorous than before, that's why this Corsa features a 4-star rating compared to its predecessor's 5. That was way back in 2014, though, as well as the standard are actually raised further subsequently. Its longer nose gives better absorption of energy inside the unfortunate event of the frontal accident, while each Corsa comes complete with 6 airbags to help cushion the blow from the event of your crash. Further health concerns include Bluetooth connectivity for cell phones and LED day running illuminates front to be sure you're seen more readily. Front fog lights are standard on higher spec models too, with bi-xenon headlamps featuring on VXR models. Lots of safety kit within the Vauxhall Corsa options list. While the most recent Corsa is bristling with standard equipment, most of it is regarding making life far more than being safety specific. If you desire your small Vauxhall fitted with safety-enhancing headlamps with cornering function, collision avoidance warning, blind spot warning and lane departure notifications, you must tick away on the options box. One safety and convenience feature you might welcome on frosty mornings may be the electrically heated windscreen, installed as standard equipment on all Corsas. It's also worth noting that together with the performance pack, the VXR is often a lively little thing, especially on greasy roads. The differential tugs for the steering, meaning you need to be for the ball constantly. If this doesn't be understood as much fun, you most likely want to consider the conventional car instead. The flip side could be that the performance pack includes better brakes and tires, so it'll stop and grip much better than standard cars. Watch, Vauxhall Corsa Euro NCAP crash test. Boot space is okay in spite of the Corsa's age. Split rear seats not standard across the product range. Active and VXR are only obtainable as a 3-door. Small cars should never be going to be vast carry-alls efficient at carrying home enormous boxes of Scandinavian flatpack, but despite its carryover cabin space, Vauxhall Corsa practicality remains reasonably good. Yes, it's spacious enough for 4 adults to inhabit the inner relatively comfortably, with storage for any few odds and ends inside front door bins and in the remodeled dashboard. There are no practicality party tricks, just like a flip-forward front passenger seat to encourage the Corsa to receive longer loads with less effort, aside in the flex fix rack. This optional device slides out as being a cassette through the rear bumper, revealing an inbuilt car bike rack, detailed with supplementary rear lights for visibility and legality. We were disappointed that only the greater-priced say NAF and discontinue delete models come having a 60 hours 40 minutes split rear seat as standard, compromising the Corsa's flexibility. Boot space itself though is reasonable, at 285 litres while using seats up and 1050 litres using the back ones tumbled over.